We are recording. It's Thursday, 5:15, April 9th, and price of Bitcoin currently at 73.15. Okay. The first thing I just want to talk about this area right here where you guys see Advantage Stream. It's under the info channel. If you scroll, all the way to the top up here, this is where I live stream. Okay. And in the middle of the day when I do live stream, folks, this isn't critical analysis or anything. Okay. It's just, my midday rant or midday update on what's going on in the news, or, sometimes I'll talk about the market and stuff. But the reason I wanted to keep these sessions, informal and Advantage Stream is because I really don't want to deal with recording 4 different videos through the day, when I do a morning and then random, 1 or 2 streams through the day. I don't want to record those every single time. Okay, so the midday ones that I do in this Advantage Stream area are really just me talking out loud of what's going on in the markets, nothing too official. Okay, the stream that we're doing right now, which is the evening stream, is the more important one where we go over the real updates of the market. We are approaching the daily closing. We can see what kind of price action has unfolded through the day, and also the equities closing. Okay, so these are the more important videos, and that's why I really don't want to start recording every single video that I do in here, because it's gonna be too much work. And then I have to, once I get in here and Advantage Stream, then I have to turn on another software to record the session of what's going on in here, and it just becomes more annoying than anything else, so don't think too much about you missing the Advantage Streams, because it's really not, important information. I mean, of course it's important, but it's information that you could definitely miss or catch up on in terms of, things that I'm retweeting, things like talking points or articles that I'm reading, or I might even put up some of the things that I'm looking at in Advantage Stream in Bitcoin analysis, or, the equity updates or something. Okay. All right. So now that we've done that, let's get to the real analysis. Okay. Market wise, we got into a nice a long this morning, right in this particular area. And market is still up as per our entry. I don't see another move down here, to be honest, but I mean, it's very possible we might have another shakeout, move down and then push back up like we did a couple hours ago. Let me see here. Like I've said before, I still do believe that this thing looks like it's creating a pennant or something like this now. Earlier, when we saw this head and shoulders and this breakdown, I had also stated back here that this could easily push back up towards 7,400. You could go watch and read in Bitcoin analysis, and that's exactly what happened. So for the most part, I haven't been shorting in this whole thing right here. Okay. I guess fortunately and unfortunately, because I'm not shorting and we're actually looking at some long positions, we might be decently positioned in our long currently to be able to catch a little bit more upside, maybe towards 7.4 again, maybe towards that high target of this previous consolidation around 7.6 or 8.1. That target still hasn't changed for me. And like I said, as per this morning's discussion too, I do believe that what we're experiencing right now in terms of price action is almost analogous to what we experienced right here, which was about 2 or 3 days of consolidation in this particular area, and then a pop up and then a breakdown. Okay. And so you can make the argument that that's pretty much where we are right now. 2 or 3 days of consolidation that we've been in. We might have another move to the upside right here and then start breaking down. Okay. The height of, if we were looking at this thing as like a bull flag right here, kind of like that, the measured move out of this bull flag to the upside is about 8,075 to about 8,150. Okay. Which makes sense because that's, again, the high of this consolidation period right here. All right. Other than that, I'm not really looking for anything else. Like I said, the long positioning and long bias will only change for me if we do something like this, test this as support, and then start moving up. Okay. That'd be the only place where I'd start considering going long. I mean, other than the fact that I'm, long right now, but I'm only long from level to level. I'm not long like, hey, I'm bullish now. Bitcoin has clearly reclaimed a particular level. But on top of that, I am still of the opinion that coronavirus, the outlook on it is still largely unchanged. I still think that we're battling the virus pretty hard in America, especially given the fact that we keep increasing infections and deaths. This was an interesting video that I put up. I wanted to show you guys real quick. Let me see here. This is the map of like Spain right here. You could see like maybe 4 or 5 flights all over Spain. You could see over Italy right there. There's like maybe 1 flight. Actually, there's no flights over Italy. There's just the ocean. And then over here, go to our land of the free, home of the brave, America, and we have thousands. These are thousands and thousands and thousands of flights. So you can see this is just a free sort of transmission, a free ride for the virus to sort of spread around, okay? And that's kind of what scares me, is I really don't think America is properly taking the precautions of limiting the virus's ability to spread. So that tells me that the recovery for the economy, as well as slowing down the death and the infection rate, will take longer, all right? And then on top of that, I mean, I put out a bunch of articles, obviously early today. It looks like Saudi Arabia and Russia are both cutting. I think the consensus was 11.3 million barrels. So that's pretty good. Let's see what else I posted. I thought this video, if you watched this Chamath video, I thought that was awesome. He basically talked about how you should just let the airlines or the cruise lines or bad companies fail, because number one, like we've talked about in Cryptosomniac, that is the will of the real capitalism and free market. And number two, I mean, who the hell cares if these companies fail? They've been bad companies, not saving money, doing all kinds of stock buybacks. They've just been, racking profit on profit for years and decades, and now they don't have any ways of, riding out the rainy day, right? Or like a pandemic or a recession. So why should the American taxpayer bail them out? And people, I think, have a misunderstanding that just because a company goes through a bankruptcy, all their employees get fired. But I think Chamath also explains that that's not how it works. You basically have a repackaging of the company. You may have an auction. You may have a buyout. You may have some restructuring of the company, and then it might be renamed. Some other company might buy them out. Yeah, you might have a little bit of downsizing or something, but the company's not gonna ever really go back to its, pre sort of bankruptcy roots anyway. It's probably going to be the same sort of, struggle, because again, life has completely changed in terms of the virus itself in America, and we have to adapt, right? And if companies are failing right now because they were not able to properly save money for times like this, or be able to keep their employees on, even for a month, right? While there's no revenue coming in, you could clearly see that there's something wrong with the company, financials. Okay. So anyway, point is, I think that article is interesting, or rather the video. And then over here, investor Ray Dalio estimates that the corporate losses in the U.S. from coronavirus will top over $4 trillion. And I think just today we saw, where was it? I just posted an article earlier. Over here, you could see the new Fed balance sheet. We are now at $6.08 trillion. Okay, we basically put in about $4 trillion in the last, I think 3 weeks or so, on the balance sheet. I mean, it's just getting way out of hand, So the point is, I think, it's still uncertain about what's happening in the economy. And I really don't think that we're ready to just turn around yet, but we'll take it one day at a time. Okay. And so with that being said, obviously the equities markets had a pretty decent day, although one could make the argument that, us hitting this 50 fib area right here, not closing above, and also hitting this previous area that was previous support, now hitting it as resistance, could be the mark of, the near local top right here. This candle right here is also, I guess you could call this, I mean, it's not really like a complete, evening star, but maybe like an abandoned baby, which is at the top of a trend. It's like a bearish pattern. You want to see the next candle of an abandoned baby with a big bearish candle. So like tomorrow's a holiday, so that means Monday we want to see a big bearish candle. Okay, so we'll see what happens. All right, and like I said, crypto markets, I am still in my dollar yen long. I will consider closing it tomorrow depending on how well it moves. I really don't like holding things into the weekend. And then what else? I'm in my link perp short on FTX. All right, so that's over here. Again, same thing with FTX, right? We don't know definitively that, if this is going to turn around like this. I want to take a punt on this because it's clear, right? This was all previous consolidation, then it was support right here, and now it should be resistance, right? These are basic rules of technicals that we all sort of understand, and that's how we trade. Okay, so I don't mind taking a punt here with the stop up here. Again, I've been keeping my size small, and if I'm right, that means I can hold on to this as a swing. I might even add on to position size if, I start seeing a breakdown there or a breakdown there, okay? Let's see here. Obviously, I talked about this morning. Fed expands corporate, debt backstops, unveils new programs to aid states, cities, and small businesses. And like I've said before, at the rate at which the Fed is going on and on and on, buying up everything. Today, they even said that they're effectively stepping into the junk bond area, which is basically like the worst kind of investments that you want to backstop. Buying those as well. I think the Fed is making a really aggressive move of saying that we'll buy up everything, anything and everything. And I think it's a very scary thought as, smart investors look at this market, okay? At the end of the day, I wouldn't be surprised if, the smart investors take advantage of that. And who knows, right? The Fed will do whatever it takes to sort of like V-style recover this thing and get the market back, going again. I just don't know, number one, how fast that would be. And I also don't know how risky that would be in terms of the long-term state of what we can, the kind of consequences that we'll have for the economy. Okay, so that's kind of the scary part. And again, you can read about this from all the smartest people, and you'll see similar sentiments, right? I think a lot of people are expecting a longer drawdown, potentially, maybe another 10, 20, 30% from where we are right now, and potentially even lower. And we might have to go to a multi-quarter recession, maybe even a depression. But the reason is, you want to go through cycles like that so you don't incentivize bad companies to keep being bad companies, right? Like I said before many times, if you bail out bad companies and bail out everyone for making bad decisions, you've effectively become the drug dealer that keeps, feeding the addict. Drug dealer being the Fed and the government, the addict being bad companies and bad decisions being made by them. All right. So that's kind of, how I'm looking at the markets right now. I still got my bearish sentiment. I'll be taking it one day at a time. Again, I'm not someone who's going to just stay bearish, even if the markets sort of, look good. I'll trade it from level to level. I'd be truly, truly bullish once we start crossing above this high, though. And I don't mean like truly bullish, like, hey, we're starting a new bull run. I think what we might be doing is, having another move to the upside before we really start crashing down. Like I've said before, the American economy and the dollar is really the central sort of, standard of the world, right? So for America to do good in terms of its economy and the dollar is really what helps the world keep going too, because we effectively have the most imports and exports in the world. We have the strongest currency in the world, but that doesn't mean that we get to abuse our power and just willy-nilly, ignore the laws of economics, right? Because if you do that, you're effectively on the path of, the whole empire effectively, crumbling, right? Which means we might take the path of the Roman Empire. Our currency will get devalued, like maybe Venezuela or Zimbabwe. And again, that might be far away. But if you really, really care for your country and you really care for the kinds of decisions that we're making in terms of economics, these are not the right decisions that we're making for the longevity of the country and for the good of all people, right? And like I've said before, this whole, $2.5 trillion stimulus and all that garbage, I mean, you don't think that money is just going to come out of thin air. It's coming out of your pockets, the American taxpayer. That's effectively about $18,000 of debt added to per, labor force American, okay, per tax-paying American. And for that, we get $1,200 back. And of that, $18,000, we get $1,200, and the companies and people, all over America, the corporations, the bonds and everything, they get the majority of the $16,000 or so dollars. Okay, so you can see it's not really like the best deal. We get a small little slice of the cake. The corporations get the entire cake, the whipped cream, the cherry on top, and everything. And on top of that, they were the bad decision. They were the ones who were, who basically came drunk to the party and started fucking things up, right? Yet they're the ones who get to have the entire cake. Okay, so it's just I feel like we've come to a point of making so many bad decisions that we have to look at this as, okay, well, the corporations and everything are the bad kids, and we have to keep bailing them out, or else they'll screw up everything. Well, that's not really the case. If you allow these companies to be made an example of, and you actually follow the real rules of capitalism and free market, and you actually allow the economy to take a small hit for now, get the virus under control fully, you will be able to start up the economy in a better, timely manner and get things started in a real way where you don't have to experience like a second wave or, shut down the economy again if the virus pops back up. And by the way, if you go look at Hong Kong and Singapore, that's exactly what happened. They had a second wave of the virus coming back because they prematurely opened their economy and let things go back to normal too prematurely. Okay, you can go look this up, but that's exactly what happened. You don't want that to happen in America, because then we will face a devastating, sort of blow to the markets, as well as, more people being unemployed, right? We've already put up numbers of 16 million so far unemployed over the last 3.5 weeks. I don't expect that number to start slowing down at least for a couple of months. I mean, I don't think it's going to, be that kind of pace for the whole time. Like, I don't think we're going to have 5-6 million every single week, but I would not be surprised if it's, 3 million here, 2 million here, 4 million here, that kind of thing. Okay. So those are my thoughts on the market. I still do believe that crypto is a good investment. I know people have been constantly asking, like, are you just bearish on crypto? Do you hate it? That's not the point, folks. Like, just because, I'm bearish for the short term doesn't mean I don't believe in the product, right? Doesn't, mean that I am constantly going to put on short trades. Like I just said, I'm long right now. Okay, what am I supposed to do? The trade looks good. The risk to reward looked good over here, when I was going long. So I took it, right? But if you're going to show me the way the world looks right now, with the market, the way it's looking right now, with all the news that's being printed out, and the way, the central banks are just printing money, I don't know how I can be just, aggressively bullish, right? It just wouldn't make sense. I mean, again, you take me above this level right here in the equity markets, and then I'll start being bullish, okay? But it'll only be temporary, because I know that it's going to be a house of cards that's waiting to crumble, all right? Any questions so far? Any questions? Anything I can cover? And make sure you go check out my Twitter. One other thing that I wanted to talk to you about is, Ray Dalio being the amazing investor that he was, that he is, You know, you could see that even now, he himself, the smartest people in the world, folks, they are also down about, 10, 20% on their portfolios. That's billions of dollars down. Okay. So don't feel too bad, if all the smartest investors are still, wrong in their long bets, or, they're still deep underwater. Right? Because remember, Ray Dalio is probably thinking like, how am I going to hedge this and start going short to be able to, cover my long positions? I'm telling you, he's already obviously 10 steps ahead of most people, or he's already executed on how to cover his losses. Okay. Let me see here. Okay, well, that's it. I want to keep this short and sweet. I appreciate y'all. I see you analyze BTC each day. Alma asked, yeah, I do Bitcoin analysis every day. Sorry, is there a question in that? I'm confused. How come not looking at ETH and BCH at all? Because, I mean, they don't really matter right now. Like, everything moves with BTC, if you look at specific levels regarding BTC, the alts are pretty much moving with it. Yeah, they might be leading from time to time, but in my opinion, the only things that you really want to pay attention to right now are the equity markets and BTC. Okay, that's pretty much it. These give you the idea of what's happening overall in the crypto market. Here's something funny. If you guys wanna hear a joke, okay, let me show you a joke. Okay, so all right, let's do a little joke. Okay, so let's zoom in on the syrup, and it says, hey, look at the lower left corner. All right, let's take a look at the lower left corner. Now it says, look at the lower right corner. Okay, let's look at the lower right corner. Okay, now it says, look at the upper left corner, way up here. And it says, now look in the butter. Okay, here's what it says. Bcash is dead. LOL. I mean, to be honest, it's a hilarious joke, but sadly, that's kind of the reality. Like, this is what's happening to crypto that most people are not realizing, that you're about to see the erosion of an entire industry that is way over levered and way overvalued, and it should not be valued this much. So you're going to start seeing crypto projects pretty much go to zero. Bcash probably is one of them, to be honest. Think about it like this, right? Chaos says it was confirmed the moment it had a 51% attack. Yeah, exactly. I mean, point is, think about it like this, okay? Think about all the crypto projects right now that are worth millions and billions of dollars. What the hell are they even contributing to the society, the world, capitalism, or anything in your life? Zero. They're not contributing anything. So they should go down to zero. They're not worth any. The only reason they're worth something is because there's probably 10 people, 10 whales, and a bunch of, average, amateur retailers who are trading and thinking, oh my God, this is so undervalued. And, the technical setups look so great. And they're probably going to lose money because these whales, these professionals, these algos are much more smarter than you. They have more money than you. And more than likely, they'll take your lunch money. That's a fact. So who the hell cares, what's happening with Ethereum and BCH? I mean, yeah, I check it out from time to time, just to look at the technicals and stuff. But really, like, the crypto market has so much to prove to investors right now, especially in a time like this where the struggle is real, not only in the real economy, which is the real working class, but even in equity markets, which are multi-trillion-dollar markets. Okay, so do I really care of what's happening on Ethereum or Bcash from a day-to-day standpoint? Not really. Okay, so just focus on what matters right now. I know people are probably thinking that, oh my God, Link went up 30% or 40%. Why? Like, why does it even matter? What the hell is Link being used for? When's the last time you heard someone like, hey guys, I use Link, the platform, for so-and-so thing? I never heard of anyone. I don't even know if people are using Ethereum for anything. Okay, So even like the best projects in crypto are some of the most useless ones, you know, because they're not really being used a whole lot. Even one of my favorite projects, Make or Die, that was even, you know, collapsing in this big drop that happened. So you can see that even some of the most well-run projects have inherent flaws in them. Okay, so crypto is a very nascent space. It may have its day someday, and it may see, you know, good value someday, but the time is not right now. The time right now, in my opinion, is to bet on all things that are overvalued. And to me, crypto is still a bubble that is way overvalued. Okay. Now you might say that, okay, well, you know, what about if tomorrow Bitcoin goes to 8,000 or 10,000? Well, it's even more overvalued then, right? I can't help it if the market is, you know, just going to do wild stuff. Yeah, again, I get it. You know, markets will always price things. Okay, it doesn't matter what I say. You know, it doesn't matter if I think things are undervalued or overvalued. It's what the market believes. But currently, the market believes that we're in an uncertainty phase. We're in a repricing phase of, hey, what happens next? Do we sell off some more? Does the virus spread more? Does the economy come back? How does the earnings season look? Do we need to sort of go into a more recessive, you know, depressive environment for the next couple of quarters? We don't know yet, right? This is just a sell-off, debt cap bounce, pushing back up to the 50 fib, and we don't know what's going to happen over the next several days, right? Or even several weeks, okay? Alma asks, yeah, but you trade on technicals. Yeah, of course, I trade on technicals, but that doesn't mean I'm going to be blind to what's happening in the world, right? I can make money in other markets and not have to deal with the stress of crypto, you know, dropping like a fly, like 10, 20, 30%, right? I can be in a more sustained position where I know that the trend is on my side and I feel comfortable being short in this position. Like I shorted Link, okay? I longed the dollar yen, okay? Where is it? JPY right there. You know, I longed the dollar yen right there, right? So point is, just because the crypto market is constantly on 24/7 doesn't mean you need to be in a trade all the time. And not only that, just because things go up 10, 15% doesn't mean you need to be in that trade in the same, you know, long direction. All right. There's a reason why so many people in crypto lose money. It's because, number one, they sort of prematurely pull the trigger, but they do not understand market cycles. All right. If the overall market cycle is telling you that this is where we are, right? If you look at this again, like I've said before, okay, if we pull back to the 3-day chart, okay, I mean, we have this big sort of pennant being created, right? Potentially, okay? But even then, this high could not break this high. So clearly you've already endangered Bitcoin's price in this particular area. Number two, we have already been creating consistent lower highs from way back in 2017, like that. And now we might be turning around here again, another lower high, okay? So the next challenge will be for Bitcoin to break this low that we put in 2018. Okay, so to understand market cycles on a day-to-day basis or on a cycle basis, you have to know that if you're trading completely against the cycle, chances are, you know, you're probably going to get burned. You can sort of intraday trade, and this is why, again, I'm long right now, right? It's because my intraday trade gave me favorability of a good risk to reward trade, okay? So, you know, point is, like, I don't know, it's hard for me to be bullish when the environment looks the way it looks, okay? And like I said, right, I'm okay with, you know, paying a higher price for BTC. You need to ask yourself, you know, as people who are in this community, that, well, what is my goal in here? You know, am I trying to trade intraday and then, you know, when I get to a swing position, I'll take that swing position? Or do I want to be a hodler in BTC? If you want to be a hodler in Bitcoin or Ethereum or Bcash, why don't you just buy now and put the money away and put your, your coins in your wallet or private keys or whatever, and then just walk away, right? Well, that's not what you're here for, obviously, right? If you're here to understand market cycles and you're here to trade, then there are certain realities of trading you need to understand, which is that you try not to trade, you know, against the trend, okay? And the trend right now being the fact that we are still in the midst of a sell-off. Nothing has been shown in terms of, hey, we've regained strength and we're ready to push higher and higher, okay? Same thing with BTC, right? We have not done anything special after this big drop-off. I'll tell you honestly, smartest traders will tell you that they would not get into longs unless you get above this key high right here. You get above 10,500, and then you have a chance towards 14,000 or that 20,000 high that we put in 2017. Okay, until then, it's fair game for this thing to keep going lower and lower and lower. All right. Let me see. What about BTC EUR? Already in resistance zone. Can this impact BTC USD? Okay, so I can tell you honestly that Bitcoin Euro does not even have as much volume as Bitcoin Korean Won. Okay, so those charts don't even really matter. Bitcoin US dollar is the real chart that matters. All right, because BTC US dollar is actually the highest volume chart. All right, it's kind of like if I pulled up an exchange, like, I don't know, some crappy exchange. I mean, I don't even know. I can't even think of it. Like Gate.io, right? And I started looking up Bitcoin prices and resistance levels there. Yeah, they matter, but I'd rather look at an exchange that has, the highest volume with the highest pairing, which is the US dollar, right? This is why I always also say that regionally, what is happening in what is happening in America really, really matters for what's going to happen in Bitcoin, because the American markets bring in the most volume for crypto and Bitcoin. All right. So if America is struggling and they're, in a liquidity crisis and they're effectively trying to sell everything because they want to deleverage, meaning that they want to get into cash and not be in, positions like crypto or even stock market or anything, they're going to sell. It doesn't matter what you think of Bitcoin's ability to be, in 2 years or 5 years or 10 years. They just want cash now. That's it. Because their clients told them so, people who are scared of their investments told them so, and that's it. Okay? So yeah, what happens in America really matters. All right? Okay. So yeah, I don't really look at those charts because, to be honest, I mean, it doesn't make any sense to me. Let's see. Any other questions, folks? Anything I can answer for you guys? I was also checking out U.S. oil earlier. Let's see here. Man, even oil took a plunge today. They went all the way up to $28 and then boom, sold off $23. Even though Russia and Saudi Arabia stated that they're going to make cuts, oil still went down. Why? Because the whole freaking world is shut down. No one is really driving, or planes are, down like 50-60% across the world. Cruise lines are not, even being utilized as much as they used to. People are not driving in America. People are not driving in most parts of the world because you're on lockdown. So the demand of oil is significantly down, and the supply is already in excess because Russia have been pumping oil like crazy. Saudi Arabia had been pumping oil like crazy. We have so much excess in oil that we didn't even know where to put the oil. So we started to use oil tankers, So that's kind of where we are in the world, folks. All right. Let me see here. Okay, well, that's pretty much it. Thank you guys for listening to my long spiel. I hope y'all like this kind of content. I know sometimes I may be a bit too bearish for your nature, but I promise you that I'm giving you the kind of, the point of view that maybe most people don't want to take into account, or they don't want to talk about because it might be too scary to discuss, or it might be, quote unquote, too bearish to discuss. But I'll always try to give you guys, the real honest view of what I personally think is happening in the markets, and also how I am reacting in the markets, right? I show you guys my trades, I show you what I'm doing. I show you charts. I show you my entry points. I show you my stops. I also show you videos from other people who I listen to, articles from people I read to show you that, hey, you know, if you don't want to listen to me, listen to people smarter than me and read what they're saying, okay? Don't listen to your average, you know, crypto Twitter person who's saying that go long on Bitcoin because this is the last chance it's going to go, you know, stay under 10,000. They've been saying that shit since like 2 years now, okay? Like, let's put a sock in it, right? So the point is, you know, listen to people who are smarter than you. Listen to people who aren't trying to take advantage of you because, you know, they're trying to tell you like, hey, it's time to get in now or never. You know, that's never the case. Markets just don't go up straight up, you know, from today, right? You know, if Bitcoin is today, if Bitcoin prices today is at 7,300, it's not just going to go to 12,000 tomorrow, right? We'll be able to, you know, get in if prices are really supposed to go up, okay? Marco says Bitcoin is a big deal, but it's way too early still, and it needs years to prove itself more. 100%, I totally agree. Listen, I think it's done a great job for the last 10 years, okay? I get it, right? If we look at the BLX chart right here, okay, it's done a phenomenal job over the last 10 years, okay? So let's throw this on a monthly, right? But here's the thing, right? We've never seen a big, meaningful pullback in Bitcoin. I mean, think about something that's gone up from a penny all the way to 20,000, you know, like a 2.1 million, or what is that? 2.1 million. No, that's 21 million% or something. Okay. That much of a percentage hike, and we've never seen a significant pullback. I mean, I feel like in recessions and depressions, yeah, Bitcoin is definitely going to pull back. It might even go to $1,000 or like 3 digits because that's what happens. Companies get discounted 60, 70, 80, 90% sometimes, okay? So if we say that, hey, Bitcoin's going to drop another 80, 90% from here, let's just say 90%, right? Or, you know, even, let's go right in the middle, 85% or so, that's still about $1,000, okay? I know those prices seem crazy, but again, no one also thought in 2018 that Bitcoin was going to go to 20,000 and then come down to 3.1. So you could see that, you know, the people who are telling you like, oh no, it can't do that, they're just freaking lying. Like, yes, it can. It definitely can. As long as an asset can be bought and sold, anything can happen. It can go to 0 and it can also go to 100,000. Okay. Yeah, exactly. Marco, you know, being patient in a market like this, it will pay off, you know, on the long run, right? As I've said before, if you treat trading and investing like a marathon rather than a sprint, you will make significantly better decisions and you will be on the path of becoming wealthy rather than trying to get rich overnight, okay? And the path of being, you know, trying to get wealthy is a much more sustainable path, all right? Because it's a slow grind, you learn a lot more, and you absorb a lot more of what's happening in the environment around you versus trying to get rich overnight, all right? You know, you tell me how many of the people that you know from 2017 who had these, you know, bags of XRP and, you know, all these coins like Neo or whatever, where are they now? Where are they? I mean, 95% of people disappeared because they lost all their money, right? So you could see that patience is the name of the game. Running this game like a marathon is going to take you a lot farther, okay? And that's what I, you know, plan to do is over the next, you know, few months, however much time I spend with you guys, hopefully that's, you know, a long time, maybe even a few years. My goal is to show you guys how to get on the path of wealth creation. And again, I'm on that path too. I'm not out here professing like, hey, I'm a billionaire. I've got big goals too, right? Someday Faisal and I want to, you know, make our community of Cryptosomniac something much, much bigger with more content, something, you know, on par with what CNBC does, what, you know, bigger institutions do in terms of trading, and then what Real Vision does in terms of, you know, content. Why can't we be the trifecta of all those three, right? Why can't we be somewhat of like a reputed news channel that delivers great content, you know, on a live TV basis? Why can't we deliver great content like Real Vision does with daily briefings? Why can't we be on par with bigger hedge funds, right? It's very possible. okay? And same with you. It's very possible for you guys to, be, you know, great investors, great traders, but it's going to take a while, just like all things, right? You know, Michael Jordan always talked about, you know, that 10,000 hour rule of, you know, he put in so much time in terms of just shooting and shooting all the freaking time that there was no way that anyone would ever surpass him because he just worked the hardest in the gym. He would go to practice 4 a.m. in the morning and be there at 8 p.m. at night because no one else was willing to put in that kind of work or that kind of energy, okay? So the point is that you are just as much capable of being successful traders and investors if you're just patient. Now, I know you guys see, you know, the market going up and here and down and everything, but just zoom out, try to figure out what's going on in the market, secure profits consistently, and you will win consistently, okay? If you start aiming for those big winners, and you start aiming for, you know, those moonshots, chances are you're going to be wrong and you're going to lose a lot, okay? So with that being said, thank you so much for joining, folks. Again, I know this ran a little bit longer than I intended for it, but I always enjoy giving you guys, you know, an update on exactly how I see the world, you know, how I'm making decisions, and hope it influences you in a positive way. All right. Y'all take care. Cheers and have a good rest of the evening.